Hello and welcome back. Sorry, I'm a little quieter tonight because it's very late at night and I'm recording this while everybody else is sleeping, so I'll try not to be as loud. I'm sure you remember a few weeks ago I wrote a couple of tracks to send to some of the publishers I work for, and I said that we were gonna wait for the revisions and that we would do them together. So the track that we've been working on is this one. Let's hear it again for a second. Okay, so it was this very bass-driven pulsing track, and before I get to my revisions, I want to show you two quick features of Logic, which I'm sure you know that I always use to do my revision. The first one is if you click here on File, which you unfortunately can't see, but it's just up here, and it's the project alternatives. So what you want to do is to create a new alternative. It's gonna ask you if you want to keep the first one. So this track is called Outbreak Control. So the new alternative is gonna be called Outbreak Control V2 for version 2 if you were guessing, and so I'm gonna save it. And so what happens is that now if I go to project alternative, I'm working on Outbreak Control V2, but the first one is still empty, and actually empty is the name of my template, which works as the full name for an alternative. So you're gonna click on edit alternative, and I'm gonna rename this first one, and I'm gonna call it Outbreak Control V1. And so this is a way to keep track of all the changes that I make, because you'd be honestly surprised of how many times you'll be asked to make changes, and then they want you to revert to a previous version. It's really important to keep track of that. And the second one is one that I feel almost no one uses, and I actually couldn't do without, which is the notepad in Logic, which is right here. The notepad is nothing but a simple text editor within Logic, and you can write comments at a track level. So I don't have any comments in the tracks here, and at a project level. And every time I get revisions, I always write a small summary over here so that I can keep track of what I'm doing, and I can double check that I did everything. So let's see what my publisher asked. The first thing is that they like the general overall feel of the track. They wrote me in an email that it fits the brief and it's good, but There are a few things about the structure that needs to be improved, plus a little issue with the lead melody. So let's start with that. They say that the lead melody is too busy, hard to follow, and they need more gaps, and they wanted to simplify and for it to have a clearer structure. Now this is a problem that I have often. I tend to write too much, and these are underscore cues, and you need to think that they're gonna need to work under dialogue. So you always need to be very careful when you write the lead element. Also, I feel like complicated things a little bit, even more here, because I have sort of two melodies, because I have this little thing here. Okay, but then there is also this riff generator patch, which plays a little bit of a melodic content. The way these two interact, it can be a little bit challenging. So let me try to address this first. There's also the timing, which is a bit weird here. I'm not sure what I wrote. I think that what I wanted to write really was this. Or this. They said they wanted to clear a structure. Maybe it makes sense to write it like that. Okay, so this could be a first phrase, and then maybe I can so now I see that here I have sort of this first thing here, right? This is about 8 bars. Let me see how it works out. This still isn't right. Let me see. Okay, so I have this first 8-bar phrase here, that's sort of a lot of rhythmic displacement. So let me see how I can simplify it. Maybe I can get rid of these notes. Maybe I can leave these suspended, kind of like that. Let's see how it sounds. Can get rid of these now. You know, I'm basically making the melody a little sparser. Okay, so basically this is the same thing. They said they want more structure. So what I'm gonna do here, there were a few variations, but what I'm gonna do is actually I'm gonna copy what I did here. Just gonna make it like that. Okay, and actually what I might do here is that I'm gonna mute these for a second rather than delete them. So if you go on, press the T to access the tool menu, and then M, you can actually mute MIDI notes. And since here you had the second melody that enters, I wonder how it's gonna work like that. Let me hear that for a second. Yeah, I think this works pretty well. And I'm actually gonna copy these for the rest of the track. Sure, here I included a few changes, but they basically what they were asking me was to, to make the melody a little bit more clear. So this starts on a anacrusis. Is that what you call it in English? I'm not actually sure. Let's just call it offbeat. And I'm gonna copy this here and see if it works better that way. And there you go. I think I made it more sparse and I think it works pretty well. So I'm gonna actually get rid of this. There are notes in here which were muted because I only wanted to see if it worked, but I'm pretty happy with that. So I think I fixed the melody this way. Okay, so you have these alternating here, and then here on the second section there are two melodies playing at the same time, but I think it works. Yeah, it's a nice counterpoint, and I think it works in two different sections of the track. It gives the editor a nice choice. It's like the same thing, but it has enough variations so that you don't get bored. So first point, I think it's done. The second bit is that they like the ticking, pulsing percussion sounds, which they say are really useful for editors. And they say that it needs to be more consistent so that editors can drop the track under dialogue and get a continuous pace with a similar feel throughout the piece. So you see, basically what they're saying here is that I changed the rhythm, the rhythmic pattern quite a bit. There are a few holes in here, and I did it because I thought I was gonna give enough variations. But now that I listen after this comment, I can totally see what they're saying, and I'm thinking that what I might do is to use this pattern here. These are sort of the drums that get the most use, or maybe this one is a bit more minimal. I think you're gonna need this. Or maybe I could just keep using the stopwatch, to be honest. Let me have a look. I think this dramatic creator rhythm needs to keep going for the entire track. I'm actually just gonna copy it. I might not use it here because there is enough stuff going on. Let me have a listen. So here it starts really. The first 4 bars were just an intro. Here's the stopwatch. I think I'm gonna need to copy the stopwatch here as well. So we're gonna use these couple of bars as a sort of a transition into a small B section, and then I might need to have the stopwatch going here as well. And I might just do that. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking that I'm basically making the track more boring in a way. But it needs to be useful to editors. So I think this might work. Let me hear it again. Yeah, I think it works pretty well. I might not need to copy the dramatic creator patch here as well because I got the shaker. I'm not sure. I could do this. I think it might be better and add a little hit as a downbeat here. I think this is really what I want. So here you have, let's hear this with a lot of delay. Yeah. And I might need to automate the delay there. Sorry. In fact, what I'm thinking is that as a variation, I might get rid of this delay in the entire second section here. So let's automate that. Think you know how to do that, but in case you don't, you just press A to access the automation. Then you want to do it at a track level rather than at a region level, and then you go on main, and the insert 3 is Valhalla delay. I'm not sure why I used 3. Let's skip the second. And you see I did a pretty similar thing here, and I think I'm gonna use the marquee tool and I'm gonna do that. And here you can say that you want here the insert bypass. So I will look at here, it gets there, it gets bypassed. Yeah, and so that also helps for this final hit. Yep. No, this bass patch wasn't working. This retro machine library actually always gives me a little bit of issues. There are a lot of hanging notes, but anyway, notepad, and we did this one as well. And the final thing it says that the ending gets too intense. Oops, I didn't read that. Oh, I mean, I did read it, but I forgot, and now I just added more percussions. So what we could do, I think that one thing that might makes this very intense is that I reuse the art bits here. So what might be a little too intense here is that I reused this art bit together with the bass pulse. So I might get rid of this one, and again I'm only muting it because I might go back to it again later on. And now I added a lot of percussions, damn it. Let me have a listen. One thing that might be too intense is this distorted shaker. I basically added two effects bypassed, and I add an Alicia character that had a distortion. So one thing that I might do is that I might get rid of the distortion over here, and that might make things a little bit quieter. Also, I'm not sure that I like all this processing here. I might just keep it as a simple shaker, to be honest. See, I want to do things that are more experimental and cool, but then I end up using the simple stuff. And I think I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna lower the volume a little bit because this is very loud. And then we might get a nice final downbeat here. Nice final beat here, which I'm gonna add over here and here. No, sorry, it was the other octave. Yep, that works. So annoying, this retro machine. Now I remember why I don't use it as much. It's full of hanging notes. The contact does something weird with it, which I'm not really sure what it is. So now I'm really afraid that I added too much stuff. What shall we do? Should I get rid of the stopwatch? That might be another option. Let me have a listen to this, and I think it might work actually without a stopwatch. I think it's a little less intense, and I think we pretty much addressed everything. But let's have a listen. Call it. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm gonna bounce it and send it to the publisher, and let's see if they like it. I really hope this was useful, and thank you so much for watching me. As always, please comment if you think that this is totally the wrong way to do it, or if you have any other ideas, and let me know how you do your revisions. And please subscribe if you haven't done that already, because I have a lot of stuff coming up. Thanks again, I'll see you next time.